kid, it tripped me out, right? Like, that's the story, right? Everybody kind of gets like their gateway moment, maybe not everybody, but for me it was the gateway king moment when you're a kid, and it's like you open the door and you realize there's this vast sort of universe out there, and it's all being puppeteered by this one dude. For me, I was in New York. I'm old. I'm probably twice as old as most of you. No joke, do the math. Right? But I was asleep in my bed in Manhattan, and my babysitter was downstairs watching TV, and I kind of came down, and you kind of go down, the babysitter sort of probably stoned and lying on the couch. You're kind of like, what's this? It's Salem's Lot. And it's the kid floating outside the window.
Oh.
The vampire kid floating outside the window. And at the moment, you're a kid, you're like, well, this is bullshit. But I gotta see more of this, and I gotta go snuggle up, and I gotta watch this. So that was my first sort of exposure. And it shook me. It shook me. She got me back to bed. I remember lying in my car bed, right? The bed's shaped like a car. And I was in my car bed, and I had my arm out like this.
Oh.
And I was sleeping, I was like, I can't sleep like this, because if I sleep like this, when my parents come home, they'll think I'm dead. That's my Stephen King kind of humor. And then I sort of, these things come your way, right? And then you're holding the paperback of Pet Sematary, and the title's misspelled, and it's written in kids' handwriting, and like, what is this bad? And so it was those sort of things, and then it was Creepshow, it was the Bernie Wrightson illustrations in Creepshow, then it was Misery. And like, it's weird because you want to talk about The Shining, but he hates The Shining. Like, everybody knows that King hates Kubrick's movie. So you kind of gotta, it's like you gotta pick a lane a little bit. So when you're dealing with King, it's a little like, I hate that movie, it sucks.
So, adapting one story, daunting? Were you intimidated?
No, because he doesn't like show up at your house. How's it going? Right? Are you adapting it? What are you doing? Are you changing shit? Like, what's happening? You got every once in a while, you got to submit it for approval, submit it for his sort of his nod. He needs it sort of very quietly. He has one representative as his lawyer. It's been his lawyer the whole time. This wonderful guy named Rand Holston, such a sweet old dude. And you kind of, it's okay, Mr. King. And he says, Steve likes it. Well, it's Steve now. And so it was sort of tacit approval all the way through, and then he finally saw the movie, and then maybe you saw he tweeted really favorably about it, and my job is done here.
You said that people have tried to adapt it before. What was your kind of aim that sort of unlocked it?
It was this thing where like they had a script, the producers had a script, and they're like, you can read the script if you want, and see if you like it, you can direct that. And I read it, and I was like, I don't know. And I started over, and they said, we wish you would start over, because we also agree, we don't feel like this is the thing. And the problem with it, I should talk this way, but I'm going to. The problem with it was like, it was so serious. It was like an alcoholic father who's in recovery and is with his daughter, and like he's trying to go on there, and then the monkey shows up and says, oh my God. It's like, and the monkey had like half a face, the other half of it was like Terminator face. So anyway, change. So far so good, right? Like it's sort of really fucked it up.
I think people who saw Long Legs and maybe were introduced to the wild world of Osgood Perkins would be surprised by this movie. Was it sort of an intentional left turn from that? I know that we've talked about
Yeah, the way it
what
works.
a big inspiration for
Well, the way it works is like I wrote the monkey before I wrote Long Legs, right? Like I wrote the movie, I was all excited about it. Fancy producers, like the movie's gonna get made, and then anybody knows how anything works in Hollywood, like it just doesn't happen. Everything just rots. Everyone kind of just like moves around the thing, like, oh yeah, we like it, but it's over here, someday it'll happen. I was like, well, I guess I better write something else. So I wrote Long Legs just on spec. I was like, I got an idea, I'll just do this. And so there was no Long Legs when I wrote The Monkey. And when we made The shooting it by the time all of this came out. So they're kind of as unrelated as they could be. They're like siblings that have different parents.
Very different potentials. You spoke about 80s horror movies and how they influence this. You want to talk about specifics?
Yeah, my brother and I, we were kind of the kids who had the house, the house, right, where you can go and there's no rules. You're like, oh, I go to the Perkins house. It's crazy over there. They don't care. Like your dad's a movie star and stuff, and he's stoned all the time, but they don't know what we're doing. So my brother and I were like, what we could do is we could throw a bunch of mattresses down in the living room, put a bunch of sleeping bags and invite all of our kind of innocent friends over, and we could kind of watch VHS. We could kind of watch, like, not VHS the movie, but actual VHS. What's the Toxic Avenger? Let's find out. Play, right? And cut to like a bunch of 10-year-old kids just being like, this is wrong for me. But it's happening and I can't stop looking. And so that sort of sensation of like, this is fun, but you really shouldn't be seeing this, was sort of the spirit of the monkey, I think. And the aspiration for the monkey is go with your family, like go with your family. Like when I went to see Gremlins with my parents, like go to see with your family. I feel like any kid can see this. It's all baloney, right? It's like watching Wile E. Coyote die 10 times in an episode, right? It's the same spirit because none of this is real, guys. You can get that. Like swimming pools and electricity don't interact like that. You can't cut someone's head off with a hibachi knife. It just doesn't happen. So I'm never in fear of someone like texting me and being like, my Aunt Gilda exploded in a pool.
Okay, you want to talk about what Theo James and getting those wonderful performances?
How do we like Theo James? Who likes Bill, like weird bad guy Theo James? My wife is like, he's my spirit animal. I think he's the moment. Yeah, he's hot. Theo James is a really hot guy. He's totally hot, and he's really nice and fun, and doesn't like care that he's hot. Isn't that so annoying? Those people who are like that, like, I'm just hot, man. I don't mind. Right? But honestly, he's up for anything. His spirit is really great. He's up for playing. He's got a really profane sense of humor. Everything between takes is some dirty joke between us. And that's who you want to be making a movie with.
You and Tatiana actually made a connection.
Best actor in the universe. Who knows Tatiana Maslany? Got another movie with her coming out. She's the best. She's the best. She's such a weirdo, like in the best way. And you can do honestly 5 takes with Tatiana or 10 takes and look back at them and you're like, oh, that's 10 different things. So it puts the onus on me as a filmmaker in the editing room to be like, well, which of these do I mean? Which of these 10 takes that she's given me is the one that I mean, has the meaning behind the words. She's infinite. She's amazing. I'm obsessed. That's what people say when I'm obsessed.
Yes. And she's hot too.
Such a lovely lady.
Was there a particular influence that you want to talk about in terms of spirit of this movie besides Chuck Jones and Wiley Coyote?
Does anybody see American Werewolf in London? Does anybody know this movie? Death Becomes Her?
Yes!
So in the development of the movie, when the financiers were, as the director, as the writer, as the author of the thing, you got to kind of, not constantly, but there's a recurring thing where you have to convince the people in charge that you know what you're doing, right? The people who are holding the money, and they're like giving you money to make the movie, like, no, I got it. And at a certain point, I was like, it's not a horror movie. Maybe it's a horror movie. I was like, no, it's not a horror movie, really. It's not really scary in that way. It's a Hollywood movie. it's an old-time feeling kind of Hollywood movie, like Gremlins is a Hollywood movie, like a Zemeckis movie is a Hollywood movie. And once we connected to that, it felt very freeing because we weren't trying to do jump scares. We weren't trying to do that. We were trying to do Bugs Bunny.
There's a playfulness there.
I think it feels like the right time. It feels like the right time for that, right? Because like there's like the news, and then there's the monkey. You go watch the news if you want, and see all that shit, and then you can come have a good time.
Have you seen the monkey popcorn bucket?
I've seen the monkey popcorn bucket. It's pretty obscene.
A lot of popcorn.
You eat the popcorn out of its death drum.
You want to talk about how you figured out the size and proportions of this monkey? I don't know if anyone has read the story, but you kind of imagine the monkey a little bit smaller. Short story. So
The problem with that is that then you kind of play it forward a little bit. Like beautiful, hunky Theo James is going to be acting with like. You gotta size him up. You gotta make him as big as a child.
you're getting a 1-to-1 ratio of monkey collectible for all these weirdos.
There's definitely monkey collectible. It's not so big because we all have to live in our houses with our stuff. But I think it's about this big. You can own it.
Neon.
Neon.
You gotta go find some.
Neon's over there.
Yeah. We have to talk about another performer in the movie, Osgood Perkins.
This guy.
You also might remember.
It's just something for the legally blonde fans. I was in a store once in Provincetown in Cape Cod, and I was sort of looking at t-shirts and I was with my wife, and this guy came over and was like, David? What do you think? And I was like, yes. I never stopped being that. Yes.
What made you put yourself?
It was just a good time, you know what I mean? Like the part was there, we didn't have anybody for it. I was like, well, I'm around. I should have grown my real sideburns because we actually had to spend money, some VFX money out of our VFX budget to get it to not flap. Because in reality, in the footage, it's like kind of like this. So I think we could do that. So I was like, yeah, it cost you $50,000 and we can do it. Fuck. Do it.
You said that you never sort of doubted the process with this movie. That you were, and I've heard actually Stephen King describe himself like this as sort of an antenna for ideas and inspiration. I was wondering if you could do that.
I think the truest thing that I can say, if it's of any use to anybody, who's a writer up here? It's hard, right? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to generate stuff. It's hard to make stuff up. And it's hard to face the computer. And it's hard to be confident. And it's hard to make decisions. And so at a certain point, for me, the big win is when you get to a place where you're letting it happen. And I know that sucks to hear. That sucks to hear. There should be some magic button that you press or some book that you read and you're going to figure it out like, oh, I read the story by Robert McKee, now I get it. It's just not going to help you. It's Sid Field, it's not going to help you. I hate to say it. But it's like showing up every day and getting to a place where you're loose enough that you're letting it happen. It's like watering a lawn. If you squeeze the hose, it's a dribble. I'm going to fucking write today. Can't do that. It has to be, let's see what happens today. I know it sounds really kind of like Big Lebowski or something, like, but that's what it is. Like, you gotta open the channel. I'm sorry to say all these things to the public, but that's what it is. Like, you gotta open the channel.
But you still love to show up and work hard and do all that stuff.
The opening the channel and letting it flow is the result of showing up every day and working hard. It's like going to yoga class. Who's that, right? Like, yoga sucks. Sucks. Until it doesn't. Until you get to the point where you're like, shit, change it. And it's that thing. You show up every day and it sucks until it doesn't.
Do you feel like every movie kind of helps you get ready for the next one?
Wouldn't it be is true?
Well, I mean, you could just get like a clean slate time.
No, I think it's like anything. It's practice, right? It's 10,000 hours. It's all those things you hear about. They're all true. Nothing's for free. You gotta put it. You gotta put the work, and you gotta show up. Nothing just shows up. No one ever got it for free. The Beatles played for 10,000 hours before they recorded a record. Like everybody knows that, right? They played in strip clubs, and they played every night for 10 hours a night for $25 or whatever it was before they wrote "Love Me Do." You don't write "Love Me Do" in a vacuum. That comes out of being loose, limber, and knowing your bandmates. This is a metaphor, but it's really not. It's a one-for-one. Like they were who they were before they went to the studio.
Do you feel like you kind of got your let it be with Longlegs?
I'm easily as good as the Beatles.
Yeah, you're easy.
Woo!
Yes.
Woo!
Maybe you guys have it up for your next movie or what?
Should we ask some questions of the audience, maybe? Do we do
I
that?
just got a wrap up sign.
Really?
I'm
We can
gonna
ask
ask
a couple questions, right?
Alright, who has the best? Don't put your hand up if it's a shitty question.
This guy. Yeah.
So, I wanted to know, when it came to the decks themselves, what was the process of coming up with them, which ones to keep, which ones to reject, and then structuring them so that there was an escalation to make it exciting all the way through, rather than people just like getting sick of, okay, yeah, another death.
Questions about how you came up with the deaths, escalation. Did you come up with them?
It's that weird thing. It's like you made them up. I just made it up. Like I just sat here and I made it up because that's my job. Like some people's jobs are to fill your teeth with gold. Some people's jobs are to cash your checks. Some people's jobs are to change your tires or teach your kids. My job is to make shit up from nothing. And I've tried hard at it for a long time. And I had sort of the benefit of the pandemic when nothing was happening. I got to practice a lot. And so when the time came for me to sit down and write this, like I was pretty limber. I know I wish I could tell you there's a button to press on your laptop, but there isn't. It's time spent.
Anybody else? Let's just jump in here. Yep.
So I know with Longlegs, a lot of people were comparing that film with Silence of the Lambs, and Clarice Starling was a huge motif. What did you take away from other horror movies with relics and artifacts and cursed objects that you wanted to put in this movie, and what did you feel was important to do a little bit differently?
Cursed object, history, cursed object.
Great question. It didn't have. I didn't hear. I'll get vulnerable and personal for a second. When I was working with the material, I was like, oh, the monkey kills people in crazy ways. Like the deal with the monkey doesn't do anything. Right? The monkey doesn't jump on you like Megan. By the way, Megan's great. Megan's a hit. Everyone loves Megan. No question about Megan. Megan's great. Chucky, great. But the monkey doesn't do anything. The monkey's just there. And the monkey's just there when crazy things happen, people die in insane ways. Turns out I've had people in my life close to me dying in insane ways. Maybe that's something that's happened to people, right? Like, that just happened? Really? That's not cool. That's not right. That doesn't make any sense. So when I got to that aspect of the monkey, it was like, oh, the monkey's just there when people die in crazy ways. I was like, that's happened to me, monkey or no monkey. And so when it became a personal thing, that was the key that opened every door that I needed to open. I didn't need to do any research anymore. I didn't need to watch Final Destination. I didn't need to think about it because I knew the thing. I was the expert. And when you're writing something or creating something, if you can be the authority, that's the whole thing. That's 100% of the job. Is being confident to be like, I know this thing. And so when I was able to connect the fact that I experienced some really significant, fucking insane, heavy-duty losses, I became the expert on the material, and it gave me the right not only to write it, but to write it as a comedy. Right? Because if I had tried to write this when I was 29, it would have been a really sad movie, no one would be here. Theory being. But as a 50-year-old man who's lived a life and has shit kids and all the things and stuff that changes you, I was able to approach it from a different way. And it was just that combination of elements that just made it honestly downhill skiing. I'll just do this. I'll get to the bottom and it'll be fine. That's as real as I can be.
That's a great question to end on. Thank you so much for it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank all of you, and remember the monkey smile.
Woo!